Okay, what I do not do so well is I'm not, a great artist. I can do the candle okay, but when you're drawing flowers and stuff, I really rough it. So I decided to, when I covered my cake, I would cheat and use my cutters to emboss. So you can see what I did with the cake is I actually used my cutters while the fondant was soft, and I pressed in here and there lightly to emboss on there. Now, you don't necessarily want to leave marks on your cake, but if you want to cheat like I did, there's nothing wrong with that. We're going to cover it up. If you're going to pipe your lines, you're not going to see those anyway. Okay? So I just used these. Also, I could use them on my pattern here too to draw. Instead of putting it on the cake and embossing on my cake, I could just put them on my pattern and just draw around them on my pattern here. Okay, and then just draw. And that way, I don't have to be an artist. I can just use this. Okay, now to get this onto my cake, there's a couple ways I can do it. Obviously, in the US, we can use graphite pencils. They are non-toxic, or we do use them. A lot of people use them. I don't like to use them because even though they're non-toxic, we really shouldn't get them on the cake. So what you can do is a little trick. Once you got your pattern on here, you can actually spray the back of your paper with cooking spray, not too heavy, and sprinkle it. I'm just going to get a little bit of that excess off. That's kind of excessive. Okay. And then you can sprinkle that with cinnamon, or with, if you've got a dark color cake, you can sprinkle it with, this is baking powder, or baking soda, or anything white like that. Okay, see how it adheres to that? But I have a white cake, so I'm sprinkling it with cinnamon. Okay, get the excess off. And then what you can do is you can put this, I'm just going to put it on the board here. I'll do it on the top so you can see it. Let's put the top over here. Lay it down, and then you can trace over your line carefully. Well, cinnamon's a little lumpy, so it's not going to be perfect. And I'll just do a little. And then when you lift it up, you can see the lines I did. See my flower? I can see my flower, and these are my lines, and that's my holly line right there. And when I paint, that will come off. And don't worry, because the cinnamon it won't dye anything. The cinnamon will be completely removed. So you can just paint on that and not worry about any lines. And we can do the same with, if this were, I don't know if it'll show up because this is a white cake. I don't know if we're going to be able to see the baking powder. Let me see if we'll be able to see that. Probably not. No, you can't see it. You'd be able to see it if it were anyways, and then of course if you make a mistake, you can just rub it off, which is really nice. But it's a way to transfer a pattern. The other way, of course, is while the fondant is soft, you can gently trace, you can pin prick. There's a couple other ways, but that's the way I do it. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started painting this guy. For painting, I'm going to use a couple brushes. You need to remember that when you paint, if you keep going over and over on the same spot, it'll actually start removing the paint instead of putting it on. So at first it puts it on, and then it'll start removing it. So be careful when you paint. Use a good brush that isn't going to leave a lot of hairs. It's kind of important, because you can leave a lot of brush hairs behind. And you can blend fairly easily with these. Okay, so I just got assorted brushes here. Some rounds. These are rounds, and these are flats, and this is what they're called, a filbert. It's a filbert, and that's a round. That you can use any size that you're comfortable with.